You arrive first at a moment that feels like a hush, a pause in your breath where everything rearranges itself. In that quiet, 3 words settle around you like an unexpected warmth. Bend, but don't break. It sounds simple, almost a proverb, yet its truth presses into your ribs like sunlight through a window. To bend is not to surrender. It is to move with the wind without losing the shape of who you are. To not break is a promise you make to yourself in the small hours. You will yield, you will learn, and you will remain intact. Let that promise sit with you now, soft and steady, as if a friend had placed their palm over your heart. Hold that feeling as we step deeper into what it means to adapt without losing your soul. When you picture strength, you might imagine hardness, stone, armor, the unbending. But strength can also be the willow that leans beneath a storm and rises when clouds pass. Imagine yourself as that willow. Your roots speak of memory and learned resilience. Your branches record the storms you've survived. Each curve is evidence of a lesson, not a defeat. You begin to understand that bending is not the opposite of strength. It is its expression. And every time you allow yourself to shift instead of fracture, you collect a new map of survival and tenderness that will guide you forward. Keep listening. There is more to learn in the stories we carry. You have a story inside you. Maybe it's small, maybe it's sweeping, of falling and learning to rise. Witness an athlete who strains, collapses, and in the hush between breaths decides to stand again. They bend at the knee, they study what failed, they adapt their posture, their mind, their training. You recognize that moment because it resembles your own. The time you changed course after disappointment, the choice to adjust instead of to vanish. Those quiet comebacks are the marrow of resilience. They remind you that recovery is not sudden. It is a succession of small, brave decisions. Feel that rhythm. It will guide the next revelation. At home, resilience wears a softer face. A parent learns to bend as their child grows, allowing space for mistakes and joy, stretching expectations to meet a new reality. You see a kitchen table where conversations repair misunderstandings, where humility becomes the glue that holds relationships together. In those ordinary rooms, you learn to hold tension without snapping, to lean into hard conversations, to soften language, to practice patience as an art. This is where the motto, "Bend but don't break," becomes a daily discipline, practiced between coffee cups and bedtime stories. Let this household wisdom settle. We are moving toward the heart of transformation. Imagine a coastline reshaped by waves, sometimes eroded, sometimes enriched with new sand. Communities learn the same way, by moving with tides of change, by reconfiguring what's broken into a new coastline of possibility. You are part of that shoreline. Your choices ripple into others' lives and theirs into yours. Every time you choose flexibility over fracture, you send a message that weary hearts can heal, that systems can evolve. These stories are small miracles, stitched together into a tapestry of survival and inventiveness, and they remind you that resilience is not solitary, it is communal. Hold that connection. We ascend to the center now. You stand at the fork that asks you to choose. On one side, resistance that feels safe because it is familiar. On the other, a harder, more honest route that demands you bend. Choosing flexibility is not cowardice, it is courage in motion. It means adjusting when your plan meets reality, learning to say not yet instead of never, and finding humility in change. When you choose the curved path, you are choosing learning over stubbornness, and in that choice, you transform setbacks into curriculum. Keep your breath even. We are building toward a lift that will open your chest wide. Softness can feel vulnerable in a world that glorifies winning. Yet being gentle with yourself, with your timeline, your grief, your ambitions, is an act of bravery. You practice softness by naming your limits, by asking for help, by giving space for healing without shame. This courage of softness preserves you. It prevents fracture. When you let tenderness shape your resilience, you create a life that can withstand storms and hold the beauty that follows. Let the tenderness sink in. You are nearly at the summit of understanding. Pain is often the teacher you never wanted, but inside its lessons lies map-making, a way to chart safer routes for the future. You will learn to reframe wounds as information, what to avoid, where to build scaffolding, when to ask others to hold weight with you. Turning pain into path is alchemy. It takes the rawness of hurt and transforms it into a guide that other hearts can follow. When you do this, you become a living lighthouse for someone who is still finding shore. Carry that radiance forward. We head now into the highest uplift. Here, at the crest, you feel the lift of every small decision you made to stay whole. All the moments you bent with grace accumulate into something that feels like flight. You realize that rising is not a single act. It is the sum of patient adaptations, the communities that steadied you, the quiet affirmations you kept repeating in the dark. Your resilience is no longer a private thing. It is visible in the way you move, the steadiness of your voice, the warmth you carry into rooms. Let that lift carry you a little further. The conclusion is tender and strong. You do not return empty-handed. You bring home a new vocabulary of choices, compromises that honor values, boundaries that protect your well-being, humility that invites growth. These possessions are quiet and powerful, a practiced patience, a deeper empathy, a steadier pulse when storms approach. When you share them, you become part of a movement, people learning to bend without breaking, together. Let this community feeling fill you. You are not alone on this path. Bend, but don't break is more than advice. It is a life strategy and a way of loving yourself and others. The lesson is simple and profound. Flexibility keeps you alive, softness saves you from silent fracture, and community holds the seams when you need mending. Live the lesson daily. Share it until it becomes language in the homes of people who think they must be unyielding to survive. If this message moved you, take one small step now. Subscribe to our circle, share this story with someone who needs it, and tell us in the comments how you bend without breaking. Together we will keep learning, keep rising, and keep holding one another. Bend, but don't break. That is the promise, and now it is yours.